tell us what you did then with Harry.
Big Ben. Yeah, sorry. Harry plays for Carlton, but
I knew I'd get that one.
No, I feel for Ben. I've copped it every day of my life too, so par for the course. But no, he's Ben McKay make his debut for us this week. We probably thought at the start of the year he might make his debut a little bit earlier, but he's had a few injuries throughout 2017. But he's come back from those really well and performed well in the VFL the last few weeks. So with Dan Nielsen getting heavily concussed last week, he hasn't recovered as well as we would have liked. So he's another tall to come in to replace him. So our 11th debutant for the year, and while we haven't been happy with our injury rate and where we sit on the ladder, to debut 11 players I think is a huge silver lining for us.
His form spike has coincided with going down back.
Yeah, it has, and we always look at our big guys as multi-positional players, and we try to train them up as being capable of playing forward or back. And Ben certainly played a mixture of forward and back in his junior career, and he's a very competitive guy. And when you see him, he's 200 centimetres and a big kid already. So he's going to be a player that I think that we're going to be able to build a spine around. So we want to be able to do that at both ends.
Where do you think his best position will be though long term? Is it still up in the air?
Oh, it's still up in the air. I mean, I thought Robbie Tarrant was a centre half forward for a long time, and he's gone back, and I think he's an All-Australian standard defender. So we'll train them up in all those guys at both ends. That same goes for Durden and all those sort of guys. So probably the only key position player for us at the moment that's locked down a spot is Ben Brown.
Do you see a greater merit in winning or losing?
No, winning. I mean, you guys will do all the prognostications, but I mean it's a pretty simple equation for us. In terms of the draft position, the depending on who wins and loses, it's anywhere from 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, the difference between 1 and 4 is negligible in my view. You're going to get a very, very good player. So we want to build our team around competitiveness and what we stand for as a footy club. So winning is very important to us this week, and we'll certainly see that in selection with bringing some experience back, albeit because we've lost a few through injury.
The way you finish a season, does that have any bearing, I guess, on how you start a pre-season?
It's a bit of an intangible. I mean, you don't really know, but if you look back, we missed the finals in 2013. We won that last game and went on to play in a preliminary final the next year. So, I think it certainly helps rather than hinders. If you had to put percentage terms on it, well, that's difficult. But like any competitive game, you want to win rather than lose.
Braden Bruce and Todd Goldstein, both little niggles, will they play this week?
Prusy won't. Prusy will go in for surgery as soon as possible on his shoulder, unfortunately. So that's going to be a few months out. But Goldie is going to train, and we're really hopeful that he'll get up. But we're in a bit of a pickle with our ruck stocks at the moment. So yeah, we've just got to back Goldie to get up this week.
So if he misses out, who comes in? Because with Dorr sidelined as well.
Yeah, that's going to be a creative challenge for us to solve. But at the moment, we're pushing the chips in on Goldie at the minute.
And it was the eye and the knee last week, and I look out there and he's got strapping on his elbow. So he's in the ward. What's going on there?
Yeah, it was like an emergency ward there on the bench at times last week, and yeah, he's got those three things, but we don't think any one of them is enough to keep him out. There's no, the eye is probably the most concerning because of the long-term risk, but at this stage the medical advice is that his knee and elbow should be fine. It's more the eye that we're concerned about.
Jack Siebel?
Look, I mean, I'm reluctant to say that he definitely won't play because he's still, as Jack does, is campaigning to play, but the medical advice is no. He's unable to train today, he's sore, but he wants up until the last minute to prove his fitness. But with the 6-day turnaround, it makes it even more difficult. So we'll just have to base it on how he functions, because it's going to be sore, there's no doubt. But the medical advice at this stage is no. So the 6-day turnaround may rule him out, but we'll make that decision post-training.
What about some of the other 50-50, Jared Wade, Cam Zerha,
Cam will train, and hopefully he'll be okay. So I mean, we talked probably after the game about 3 or 4 injuries post the St Kilda game, and fortunately, probably Prusy's the only one of those who would say definitely won't get up. Jack's a different category because it's an ongoing thing. But yeah, we'd like to think Cam will be available, but the more long-term guys like Mason Wood and Jarrad Waite won't get up.
Will you name the skipper tonight?
Yeah, we've got to decide that after training. To be perfectly honest, I think it will depend on how other guys get through. I mean, we need to field a team at the end of the day. So, yeah, we'll see how we train and how many we've got available, and then make a call.
I know you touched on it last week, but could this be the last time we won't see Jarrad Waite? Like, he hasn't got a contract in front of him as yet.
Yeah. Oh, I certainly hope not. I mean, we all know how good his best footy is, and I think he's made an enormous contribution to our football club, and it's disappointing that he's not available right now, but he's certainly one of our key players when he's available. So, yeah, I certainly hope it's not the last we've seen of him.
Given the strength of some of the football you've played at times this year, is it a bit of a surreal position to be in, to be having to win to avoid the wooden spoon?
Oh, look, I think we just find ourselves in this situation that we don't want to be in. The circumstances behind it are not really worth contemplating. We've just got to look forward to trying to win this game and continue to build that solid platform that we've been trying to build through 2017. We would have loved to have won more games and been pushing, and it is a bit different because it's been 4 of the last 5 years we've been sitting in this position looking forward to a final series. So we've just got to go out and have a real crack and make sure that we try and finish 2017 on a winning note.
You haven't had a wooden spoon since 1972. I mean, that's something I imagine the club's pretty proud of. Is it? Do you look at it?
Yeah, I think it just reflects what our club's about and what we hold dear. So, the players are certainly, we've talked a fair bit about this week. Wanting to make sure that we go out and have a real crack and win. But there shouldn't be any doubt as to what our motives are. From Ben Buckley, the chairman, right through to the 45th player on the list. We want to get it done this weekend.
Does it change how you look at the season if that does eventuate?
No, not really. I mean, it sort of is what it is. It's a terrible cliche, but they're just the facts. I mean, we'll just focus on trying to win, and what comes from that comes from that.
Scott Thompson doesn't have a contract either. He's another one of those players. Where's he at?
Yeah, well, he plays his 200th game this weekend. So again, an enormous contributor to our footy club, and great stories come from. Didn't get drafted early on and had to come through as a mature age player and has fought hard for what he's achieved. We all know he started as a pretty dour, scrappy defender and developed through to an All-Australian. So again, like Jarrad, I sincerely hope this is not his last game. But we're like a lot of clubs at the moment. Unfortunately, some players are in a state of flux and we can't make hard and fast decisions. So yeah, I'm hopeful this is not his last game. And that's for sure, because every coach would love to coach Scott Thompson.
How do you handle it with those boys, those older guys? I mean, because it could be like right through trade period and taking it and after.
The only way you can with full openness and transparency. The truth is always a very good option in these circumstances, and unfortunately the lack of certainty is very difficult for players, and it's very difficult for football clubs as well. But we're not the only club in this situation. There are so many, and it seems like there are a lot more players out of contract right now than previous years. So whether that's just being reported more, or whether it's a fact that the clubs are waiting to finalise their list and everyone's pretty tight in the salary cap. So all those things have got to come into it, and it creates a really difficult situation for players. But that seems to be the environment we're in now.
Given the reasons behind where you are, and there are many injuries notwithstanding, I mean, does that give you confidence that you can really bounce back quickly next year?
Yeah, well, that'll be our aim. I mean, we'd love to get some guys out there more often. So that certainly has gone against us a bit this year. But we want to build a list that, and I think our VFL team will really help us next year. We've had a fantastic relationship with Werribee, but the ability to control the development of our own players through a VFL team will mean that regardless of injury, we should have players who are able to come in and play the exact role that we want them to. And that's been a challenge for us and for Werribee. But I think that if we can get a full list available and trained up the way we want them trained, then that there should be pretty rapid improvement for us.
Having to answer questions about tanking and that sort of thing, I imagine it's pretty frustrating. Would you like to see the system change so another club isn't in this position in 12 months?
I'd like to see it change now. Can we just put in a lottery so that there's no discussion about it? I reckon we nipped that in the bud a month ago, probably when there was some scuttlebutt about that sort of stuff. And I think we made it both through our effort and all the things that we've done, we've strongly suggested that's not happening. But look, I think the incentive's been taken away anyway. Like any club that thinks that they'll pick one as opposed to a worst case scenario, pick four, well, you know, you're not focusing on the things that are going to make you a really good club going forward. So I personally don't feel there needs to be anything done about it, but if the AFL chose to bring in some sort of lottery system or something like that, that's fine too.